So the past couple of weeks, months, even probably the start and entirety of 2025, Pokemon has gone through a very weird cycle of just very difficult to get everything, which has kind of led us to this frenzy. Now, every news that I see is always the same. Should you invest in it? Should you open it? Should you keep it sealed? Where can I get it? How can I get all of it? Can I sell it instantly? Scalper this, scalper that. I do sealed, I do singles. And to be honest, the biggest thing, and the one thing that I don't know, because in the crisis of what we're in kind of like today in money circumstances, I don't know how everybody affords it, to be honest with you. Like, naturally, you'll see a few things here and there. Maybe I sell a bit of my personal collection and kind of fund other ways and all of that. And it's brilliant doing it that way and kind of not necessarily taking everything that you need to keep. You can obviously offload stuff if that's product, if that's singles, and you can buy new and do that sort of stuff. But to buy all of these new products without selling any of it, I mean, I wish I had that amount of money because I honestly don't know where that's coming from. But in general, FOMO is the biggest thing that I've had to work on myself. I have a very addictive personality for any sort of hobby that I personally really do enjoy. I fixate a lot, and I've most definitely had it on Pokemon. Coming back to the hobby, I had it at the very start of when base set originally came out. I had to have a complete set. Back then, a little bit easier. Packs were a bit cheaper, but I was a child, so it wasn't necessarily that I had adult money at that point, so I couldn't go out and just go to the shop and buy myself a whole box of base set or jungle or rocket. But with obviously that, I was fortunate to be able to get some Pokemon cards at the minimum. And I had friends that we traded with. We tried to complete the set. Now going into the hobby back again, I came back right at the start of Sword and Shield a little bit. I had a little bit of evolutions, obviously being a kind of a base set, but it never really piqued my interest massively. It was kind of coming back into the Sword and Shield and then really getting it back into it kind of, I'd say Lost Origin, maybe a little bit before, where I started getting a booster box per kind of set. Like I like to keep myself at a certain level, and most definitely now looking at the levels of what we can get, it's becoming very difficult to be able to get a booster box per set, and it's mainly because how many sets they pump out, how many different collections you want. The more sets you try and collect, the harder it does become. And as silly as that sounds, it's very difficult for myself trying to complete sets to then try and kind of move on to the next one as well. If we're not doing the prismatic, okay, we'll go do Journey Together. Oh, you still need to finish all of that. Black Bolt's coming out. White Flare, you've got 300 cards, 800 cards to go and get. You know what? Mega's coming as well. It's just a lot. And I think the biggest thing that I've heard from many creators, which is really cool with a lot of them on TikTok, there's a lot of live people that you go and chat to. It's really interesting to get other people's kind of point of view of what they collect, what they're interested in doing. And some people, like how I personally should do my collecting sets, is they focus on one at a time. Yes, I do get the base set of it, the completed commons, uncommons. That is the easiest part of it. It is the illustration rares, the special illustration rares that do get you caught up in the hobby. Now, kind of rolling on to the point of the video is, you don't need to collect every set. And this is kind of the hardest pill I've had to swallow in terms of, you don't have to buy every product. You don't have to invest in everything. Even if you, and this is the biggest problem for an investment point of view, if you are a sealed collector, it's not necessarily a scalping collector. Like if you're collecting a sealed product, if it's one, if it's a case, if it's two, if it's free, that's absolutely fine. If you want to, like what a lot of people do to start with, if you've got the funds available, you buy, for instance, a Destined Rivals booster box. You could maybe buy 2 or 3 more. You sell one when they hit double the price, you sell 2 when they hit triple the price, giving you that full value of this Destined Rivals just as a paid for already. If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. Then you've kind of got almost a free profit sort of cycle when it comes to a sealed product. And I like that. There's a lot of people with some very cool backdrops where you can see booster box after booster box, but they're not just the same one. I like the collection point of view from that. But also, You don't need to do all of that. These people, and a lot of them, especially if you are looking at YouTubers, if you're looking at Nostalgianomics, if you're looking at Jake, if you're going as far as looking at kind of like your Pokevault and the kind of even the card openers more so than the sealed investors or the kind of sealed content creators, they have been doing it for years, let alone age gap between maybe yourself and them, but then also thinking, when did you come into the hobby? I do not expect to have the collection of anybody of that sort of level because A, they have put a lot more funds into it. There is maybe a few moves that they've made that have done exceptionally well. If you've bought Evolution back in the day and you've managed to sell it off now, you more than likely can pay for a lot of this stuff. It is all about perspective, and comparing yourself is going to be the one killjoy of this hobby. So it is the one thing that I always try and kind of go with. I always will do the investment side of stuff. I will like the sealed products. I like the singles as well. I'm a big collector of it, and it's not necessarily whenever I kind of utter the words investment when it comes to Pokemon, because all you get is it's a kid's game, all of that, and yes, to some extent it is meant to be, but it's still a kid's game that has grew up in now an adult world with adult money going into it. The big thing for me is the fact that if you are investing in something like this, I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds. I'm talking about buying one box. Talking about buying maybe a case at most. Yes, you could probably work out the maths that if you bought Prismatic Evolution at the absolute absolutely MSRP, and you bought £100,000 worth of it at this point now, yes, you would have made money. I don't think you need to be a genius to work that one out. Most of the scalpers as such have already worked that one out, hence why people are just buying and selling it on the absolute daily. But whether I'd say go and buy now Journey Together at $200 a box and go and buy 50 grand's worth, probably not. Like, I mean, that's not going to be the one. Buying one is not going to hurt. Maybe, just maybe, it dips down and maybe you could have got it a little bit cheaper. That, of course, is always a risk you are willing to take. That's why none of this is going to be complete financial advice for you to go and actually do it. It is just opinions. We come together. The comment section is always a great place to kind of get your opinions and mix the feelings out. If you personally think that something's either wrong or you have a different understanding in the comments, then absolutely let me know, because I'm always interested to read your responses, how you collect, how you invest, how you keep your products. That is the one thing that personally has always driven me when it comes to this sort of hobby, that the people in the community are incredible. There is so many different and inventive ways of collecting. Look at Deep Pocket Monster with the kind of the Pokedex, I can't remember what it's called. That's going to absolutely kill me in the comments. But in general, with the whole 1,200 binder, now having that exact binder kind of popping off and you can create your own Pokedex is brilliant. I'm personally trying to work on kind of like a Gen 1 Pokedex sort of binder, but with a slight twist. I will leave a TikTok down below because I'm going to start putting that into play. Let me know what you think about that, and it should be on the shorts on this. I'm starting to post some shorts that will be from our TikTok as well, which are always going to be pretty cool to have. But in general, FOMO is the biggest killer of this kind of industry, really, because it does make you want to get everything, and I get getting everything new is always going to be good, and that's kind of the biggest players. When you can't get something, you want it more than ever. It's common math. It's common psychology of people. If you say you can't have this, there is none other unless you pay £10 rather than the normal £4. You go, okay, well, I'll do it. Give me 50 of them. It's just the way it works. Now, the big thing is don't break the bank. I have always said in this hype market at this moment in time, if you have got money for sealed products, then I mean, by all means, that is absolutely fine. But with how expensive absolutely everything is, unless I can find it from MSRP, and I'm not necessarily thinking anything that is completely out of print. So for instance, I'm not expecting to pick up a Chilling Reigns booster box of MSRP. I'm not looking at the same for a Silver Tempest. But if I find a free pack blister in Asda for Lost Origin, yeah, I might keep it sealed. I might keep it in the collection. Getting a one product of that is not going to be a bad thing. But then kind of looking at your Temporal Forces and thinking, I'm going to go and buy everything of that. it might just be something worth having a look at and just checking yourselves before. Think about what you're actually in the hobby for in general, and profit-wise is going to be a big common factor, and it's the one thing that you always try and get away from. I love the sets, I love the artworks, I like to try and sell some cards to be able to finish other people's collections and hopefully bring some money in for my collection as well. So it's not necessarily making a profit, it's just bringing the money back into Pokemon to be able to enjoy all of our collections. But in general, when it comes to that, you obviously have to then buy the sets. More than likely people are leaving the hobby, and you just have to kind of pump the money around. Hence why grading is now a massive thing that is pumping money back into the hobby, because it's not necessarily, and I heard this off somebody, I can't remember where I heard it from, but it's not necessarily it's creating money, because it technically is. But realistically, what's creating money is you are still putting your money from your normal job in retail, in government, whatever. Like, you're taking that sort of industry and you are putting the money into Pokemon. Then it goes round, because normally what you'll find, if you sell a graded slab to somebody, the money you probably earn is likely to go back into the hobby, which then is going back into either grading services, which more than likely goes back round into Pokemon, or it goes into booster box shops, it goes into product, it goes into singles, which again goes round. And the more people getting into the hobby are bringing all of their revenue into there. Now, not everybody's going to spend thousands, hundreds, millions, to be honest, in some aspects. But in general, every little bit. 151 was a brilliant one. It brought back so many people that have collected base set over the years, collected even just a little bit. Maybe people have just come back for base set, evolution, and 151. The extra kind of revenue that that's put in is absolutely crazy. So it is kind of like an all-round thing. But like I say, the FOMO is the biggest thing, that you don't need to collect everything. Like I say, I always look for MSRP on a lot of products. It's what I've done for Journey Together. But then you've got to kind of go under the assumption that you can't buy it every single time you go somewhere. And that again is another big thing. It's the FOMO of, well, if I don't buy a Journey Together pack today, if I don't buy 5 of them, 10 of them, I'm not going to be able to get any more for MSRP. It's going to run out of printing. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. And to some extent, yes, that is sometimes what it comes down to. Journey Together has not been in my shop for the past 2 weeks, but I guarantee in like a week or two, it's probably got another box. So it is going to keep going round. And as Pokemon do start printing more and more, it may not be that Prismatic becomes readily available. It might not mean that Journey Together is back on the shelves consistently. Again, it's just opinions at the minute. Like, it's just a hypothetical sort of scenario. But say, for instance, if that's not the case, Black Bolt, say if the printing catches up for that set, it's printed to demand. You can readily get it available. It means that you don't have to kind of rush to be able to complete the set. And getting singles at the moment is going to be a very good way to do it. So I would suggest, hold on your money. We know that the summer normally brings in a little bit of a low point, so don't necessarily go off and kind of sell everything right now. Maybe do check yourself, see where you are at with your collections. Focus on a set. I'm personally focusing on your kind of vintage sets. I'm looking at Fossil, Rocket, and also then Jungle. Whenever I go to a card shop, I'll pick up one card. If it means then I look at Destined Rivals, I might buy a little bit of a product. But it's not necessarily going to be to complete the set yet. That's going to be maybe in the future, and kind of going to them shops and looking for bulk. I've got the Journey Together complete set, rares, commons, trainers, all for, I think it was around about £18, something like that. It's 150 cards, whatever it is. But you think if you could spend, and yes, you're not going to get any illustration rares in that, but I could spend my £18, for instance, and get the whole complete set. I then only have to work out the illustration rares. That's not a bad thing to do for some of the sets. Prismatic is personally one I've opened up enough. I'm quite happy now. I've got a couple of good pulls. I'm more than happy to now just put it into singles. Eventually, when I want to turn around and get to Prismatic, hype dies as well. I don't think all of the evolutions will stay at this crazy price consistently. There will be a dropping point for some of them. And failing that, if the hobby completely goes to the pan, then I can go pick up everything for a lot cheaper, which is going to be a lot more fun. But it is all about checking yourself. Don't worry about the FOMO. Make sure that you are collecting at a reasonable pace, and the biggest information I could give you at any point of whatever, Everybody gets done for it, trust me. It's very difficult with your constant packs being opened, your constant YouTube videos being chucked down your throat with, these are the best cards to buy in 2025. And I've done them, of course. It's all advice if you are looking for it, is don't compare yourself to people. Your scenario could be different from Dave down the road, from Billy upstairs. It could be from Sasha down the street. You don't know their scenario. They could be minted. They could have a job that allows them. That could be the only thing they do. They don't eat out. They don't have any TV programs that they buy, anything like that. They could just spend the money, and that's their hobby. That's their interest. It's their only interest. So they get to spend that little bit extra. So always keep it to yourselves. Find your budget. Do not go into debt for something like this. Make it manageable. If it's a pack a month, if it's a couple of cards a month, then that is the scenario. And then maybe look at the side hustle. See what there is in the hobby. There might be a different avenue that you can go around with it to make a little bit of extra money, to put some money into the hobby. That's going to be the personal best way, I personally think. And I just think as a kind of sit down video, going over some of it, because I can see the hobby going absolutely crazy. And to be honest, the FOMO is what kills it. It's like I say, it's a personal experience of mine. I would just be very, very careful with what you actually collect and how you collect it. If you want to pick one avenue, stick to it, give it a good go, and then see in a year, in 2 years, what it kind of grows to. But hopefully you do enjoy. If you've got any more pieces of wisdom down below, leave it in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe on this, and I will catch you all for the next one. Peace.